So there has been a lot of information out there, especially when there comes to choosing what would be best when you want to grow your hair back when you've experienced hair loss. And I remember being in that space because I lost my hair. And when I lost my hair, I resulted to going to Google and just looking for factual information that would be helpful and beneficial so that I could make an informed decision about which way I wanted to go or what I needed to do in order to restore my hair. But unfortunately, there wasn't like a lot of information out there that I could have access to. And so this was what led me down my path to go into being a trichologist, which is someone that studies the conditions of the hair and the scalp and the hair's anatomy and the hair structure, as well as I went into holistic health because as I began to do my studies for trichology, I realized that in order for me to have the healthy hair that I wanted again, that I had to also look at the health piece of it. And so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Precious Rutlin, and I am a hair consultant. And I teach women how to heal and restore their hair from the inside using holistic remedies so that they can wear their natural hair proudly. And we have a luxury hair growth and texture restoration company where we bridge the gap between Western medicine and for those that have either lost their hair or they want a natural approach to growing their hair back without pills or chemicals. And been in the hair industry for over 26 years, losing my hair myself, having to figure out how to get it to grow back, and just dealing with all the emotional and mental components that goes with that. I learned that just being out here in general, every time you turn on social media or just society in general, especially for women of color, they have taught, or the images that reflected back to us is that, our hair isn't beautiful and that it's just a hassle to maintain. And so what I've done is through my studies and creating my own 8-phase hair regrowth system, I've taught women how to restore their hair using a natural, healthier approach. So not only do they restore their hair, but they also restore their confidence and learn to love themselves again. And with that, today's topic, I wanted to talk to you about minoxidil and is it right for you? And this topic it comes up a lot, especially just with me, just dealing with women and, talking over their options as far as restoring their hair. And they look to me for my professional, recommendation on what they should do, or should they even include this in their hair plan. And so I said, you know what, I need to put this information out there because one of the things that I do know is that if you're having hair issues, it's a result of the lack of health. So you always have to start with what is going on inside of you, whether it be systemically, nutritionally, hormonally, what is going on inside of you that is showing up as an effect in your hair. And so with that, again, if you go online, there's a lot of information out there as far as minoxidil, also known as Rogaine. And you're curious because you see photos and things of people that have used it and they have had results. But sometimes it's easy to get duped because what may work for someone else may not work for you, just depending on your whole body chemistry, genetics, and what you have going on, again, health-wise, and whether it will work for you. And so, again, being minoxidil is one of the products that we're going to talk about. And so here's a few things that I want you to understand about minoxidil and just your other options and period when you're getting ready to look at what's going to be best for your hair. So when it comes to minoxidil, I want you to understand that it does comes in different forms. So you can apply it topically, or you can go to your medical professional and they can prescribe it to you orally. Now, the difference between the two is that, of course, with it being topical, it won't be able to penetrate your scalp as deep as it needs to get down to your hair bulb and hair follicle, versus if you take it orally and ingest it, now it's actually in your tract, it's actually in your bloodstream. And so now it can get to your hair bulb and hair follicle. But here's what you need to know about minoxidil, oral minoxidil, at that is that it's not FDA approved for hair loss, but it is FDA approved for high blood pressure. So that's one of the perks. If you are experiencing high blood pressure and you happen to have hair loss or hair thinning, then that could possibly be an option for you to help you to maintain your blood pressure. But please don't overlook that what the drug is truly intended for. And so again, it's been approved for high blood pressure, but it hasn't been FDA approved for hair loss. So if you decide to opt for prescribed drugs, in this case, let's just use minoxidil and stay with that. I do need you to make sure you do all the research that you can and definitely know what the side effects will be. And in my opinion, just being in the hair industry, and for what I've been seeing going on right now, there's clients and they're getting frustrated and upset with the hair professionals, as well as the medical professionals. But they're saying that there's not enough information out there, and that they're being led down the wrong path as far as it is with their hair, or when they get in touch with the stylist, the results isn't what they were looking for. Or if they team up with the medical doctor, they may try the products or the medicine for a while, whether it be topical or oral. And when they see that they're not getting the results that they wanted, then they're frustrated and they're angry. And it always comes back to the question of, well, did you do your research? Did you look at reviews and see what was said about the products? And so now I will say this, I do know that if you have certain hair conditions, such as if you've suffered from, alopecia areata or androgenic alopecia, traction alopecia. Now, there has been cases where minoxidil, the oral minoxidil, has been helpful, but again, not just minoxidil by itself, like it was in conjunction with other therapies. And so that is why you need a team on your hand, a team of people to help you when you're making these decisions and helping you to get your hair routine back on track, and get your hair back on track, because that's the ultimate goals that we want to see you win. We want to see you be in the best health possible, and have your hair be in good confidence. But you also have to, of course, when you're doing something like taking the oral minoxidil or any of these oral drugs to quote unquote restore your hair, you need to be working closely with your medical professional, the person that prescribed the oral medication for you, because oral minoxidil, once it gets into your system, it goes directly into your bloodstream. And once it gets in there, you want to make sure that you're working with your provider and that you're tracking, your blood pressure to make sure that everything is regulated and that it's doing what it needs to do. So yes, you can opt for topical minoxidil. It may not be as effective as the oral minoxidil, again, simply because it can't penetrate the deep layers of the scalp and get down to your hair cells, and it needs to get down into the hair bulb, which is where your hair follicle resides and where it forms before it ends up growing out of your scalp. However, it's an option for you if you choose to go, the drugless route, and you want to do the topical option instead. So those are just my tidbits on minoxidil, oral minoxidil, if that's going to be right for you. But I do want to give you at least 3 tips that you can use to help you determine what's going to be right for you, as far as whether you use oral minoxidil or some of these other hair options. And one of them is that I strongly recommend that you exhaust all of your holistic options first before you even opt for going any routes such as drugs like oral minoxidil, which is also known by the name of Rogaine. You want to speak with someone that has professional experience, that's an expert, someone like myself that can help you to figure out, what will be the right course for your hair and what your hair goals are. And then also consider, how long that you have been suffering from the hair loss or the hair condition, and that can guide you. Because again, if you're about just wanting something quick, fast, in a hurry, then yeah, you can opt for that, but you won't be satisfied because you won't see the end results and what you're looking for. Because my whole philosophy is, if you have commitment plus the patience, then you're going to experience healthy hair growth. So it's all about, are you willing to be patient and commit to a lifestyle, something that's different from what you've done in the past, so that you can restore your hair. And I get where you're coming from. I've been where you are, so I totally understand, because sometimes it seems like your hair can take forever coming back in. But I would rather for you to be patient and exhaust all of your natural options first before you would resort to an oral drug and opt for a drug, period. I prefer that you would use that as a second source. Second, again, do your research, do your homework. If you don't have anyone on your team to assist you, me and my team will be glad to help you along the way. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you're doing your due diligence, do your research, read reviews, ask questions, get as much information as you can before you opt to take like any type of drug like the oral minoxidil. You need to know how it's going to affect your body. Again, what are the side effects? And it's just not with this drug, it's with any drug. You always need to know what will be the common side effects. You need to know what to expect. You need to know, given your health history, how can this possibly um, impact you. And then last but not least, I strongly want to recommend that you go through your hair regimen and look at everything that you are doing, because oftentimes, you know, you've experienced the hair loss, you've experiencing these issues with your hair, but it comes back to what are you doing on a daily basis? Are you constantly, you know, I'll just use that, you know, are you constantly drying your hair out with the hair dryer? Are you constantly using the curling irons? Are you constantly putting in your extensions? Are you constantly using hair color? So it's certain things that you can do to avoid or minimize the pressure and the strength, the pulling on your hair, if you just take a step back and really assess what are you doing in the first place to evaluate, you know, how did you get there in the first place. So those are the three things that I would recommend for you to start in order to decide, you know, is the oral minoxidil right for you, or any type of hair drug that you may be assuming or considering to take to regrow your hair. Now, for instance, I have an amazing client, and she's been with me over a year now. And before she came to me, she was experiencing hair loss in the front of her hairline, and it was really thinning out in the crown. And so I've taught her, you know, how to take care of her hair. So we're, you know, we're working on that. And but then I showed her how to take care of her body on the inside. She's got the right, you know, supplements that she needs. And since she's been doing that, she's been seeing hair growth. And I tell you, it's nothing like when you have your client where they didn't have anything, but once they start to see that peach fuzz, they start to see that little light at the tunnel, and it gives them hope to keep going and to follow the plan. And so if that is something that you would like to have and can possibly be in that situation and see a little bit of peach fuzz, a little bit of hope, then I'm going to invite you to reach out to me, and we can do a hair and see if a complimentary hair evaluation will be right for you. So if you go ahead and DM me the word hair evaluation, me and my team, we can get you the link so you can get set up. I can take a look at your hair, and I can give you some advice whether we need to do a complimentary hair consultation, or should I recommend another path for you to help you get the guidance that you need in order to get your hair back on track. But thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me today. And I look forward to speaking